The wind was razor-sharp at first, slicing through the silence of the firing range. Then, suddenly, everything stopped. The only sound was the slow, deliberate click of a rifle bolt sliding home. Eyes narrowed, breaths held. No one expected what would happen next. A single shot cracked through the air, echoing across the barren field. The bullet's journey was invisible, but its impact would shatter every assumption in the room. For weeks, he'd been the joke of the barracks. But in that frozen moment, as the instructor's jaw clenched and the world seemed to hold its breath, a hidden truth was about to explode into the open. And when the dust settled, nothing would ever be the same. Private Samuel Ortiz, 54, looked out of place among the fresh-faced recruits. His uniform hung loose on his wiry frame, boots scuffed, hands calloused and stained with oil. His salt and pepper hair peeked from beneath a faded cap, and his eyes, tired but alert, rarely met anyone else's. That he moved quietly, almost invisible, always the last to eat, the first to volunteer for the worst chores. The others called him Old Man behind his back, sometimes to his face. Bet he can't even see the target, one recruit snickered, watching Samuel fumble with his gear. But there was something in the way he handled the rifle, gentle, reverent, as if it were an old friend. One noticed the faded tattoo on his forearm, half hidden by his sleeve. No one asked why a man his age would start over as a recruit. They just saw a nobody, a relic, a mistake. The instructors barely hid their impatience. "Ortiz, you're up. Try not to embarrass yourself this time," barked Sergeant Miller, his voice dripping with disdain. Samuel nodded, silent, as the younger recruits snickered that he'd failed every test so far: marksmanship, fitness, even basic drills. His hands shook during inspections. His scores were the lowest in the class. "Why don't you just quit, old man?" sneered Private Collins, tossing his rifle onto the bench. "You're holding us back." Samuel said nothing, just stared at the distant targets, the wind tugging at his sleeves. The others laughed, louder now, emboldened by the instructor's indifference. "Maybe he's here for the free meals," someone joked, but Samuel's eyes never left the horizon. The day's final test was the long-range shot, 2,000 yards, a distance that humbled even the best. "Let's get this over with," Miller sighed, waving Samuel forward. The range was silent, the air thick with expectation and contempt. As Samuel settled behind the rifle, something shifted. Captain Reynolds, the sniper instructor, paused mid-step, eyes narrowing as he watched Samuel's hands. There was a subtlety in his grip, a precision in the way he adjusted the scope, compensating for wind and distance with movements too practiced to be accidental. Reynolds' voice cut through the silence. "Where do you learn that hold, Private?" Samuel didn't answer. He just exhaled, slow and steady, finger tightening on the trigger. The shot rang out, clean, sharp, final. A stunned hush fell over the range. Through the scope, the spotter's flag dropped. Direct hit. Center mass. 2,000 yards. Reynolds' face went pale. He stepped forward, voice suddenly formal. "Private Ortiz, report to me. Now." The recruits stared, mouths open. The laughter died. In the instructor's office, the truth spilled out. Reynolds pulled up Samuel's file, eyes widening as he read. "Sergeant First Class Samuel Ortiz. Former Special Forces. 3 tours. Silver Star. Discharged after injury." Samuel shrugged, eyes downcast. "I lost my team. Couldn't save them. After that, I couldn't stay. Tried to disappear. But I missed the work. Missed the discipline. So I started over." Reynolds' voice softened. "You didn't have to prove anything to us." Samuel shook his head. "I did. To myself." The room was thick with unspoken pain, sacrifice, loss, the weight of memory. Outside, the recruits pressed against the window, straining to hear. Reynolds stood, saluted. "Your skills are needed here, and your story deserves respect." Samuel nodded, a flicker of pride in his eyes. The next morning, everything changed. Collins approached, eyes lowered. "Sorry, sir. I didn't know." Samuel just nodded, accepting the apology with quiet grace. "AT formation," Captain Reynolds addressed the unit. "Let this be a lesson. True worth isn't always visible. Heroes walk among us, unseen." He pinned a commendation on Samuel's chest. The recruits applauding, some with tears in their eyes. Samuel stood tall, dignity radiating from every line of his weathered face. Later, as the sun set, he returned to his bunk. The laughter replaced by respect. He was still the first to volunteer, still the last to eat. But now, every eye followed him, not with scorn, but with awe. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to remember that true worth isn't always visible. Join our community, where we honor the hidden heroes among us, because every person has a story worth knowing. Respect costs nothing, but means everything. Never judge by appearances alone. Share this story and help us remind the world. Heroes don't always wear uniforms, but they always leave a mark.